All right, let's dive into a story that's part genius, part epic failure, and part incredible comeback. We're talking about the dream of wireless power. You know, this idea that's been kicking around for over 100 years. And, well, it's only just now starting to feel real. I mean, just think about it. We are already living in a wireless world, right? Your phone, the internet, your headphones, so much of our life is already cut loose from cables. It just feels normal, super modern. But what if I told you that one guy dreamed all of this up over a century ago? And I'm not just talking about charging your phone. No, he was thinking way, way bigger. He imagined powering the entire planet through the air for free. We're talking about a dream on a truly planetary scale. So how on earth did we get from that wild, colossal dream to the little charging pad on your desk? Well, here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll look at Tesla's grand and kind of flawed vision. Then, we'll see how the whole idea got a second life through some really smart practical engineering. And finally, we'll tackle the big one. What does a future without any wires actually look like? Okay, first up, let's start with that original dream. We're going to rewind the clock to the turn of the 20th century and really dig into what Nikola Tesla was trying to build. You have to remember, this is Nikola Tesla we're talking about. The guy had already changed the world once. I mean, his alternating current system, AC power, that's literally the reason you can plug anything into a wall today. It's his system. But for him, that was just a warm-up. He wanted to go even bigger, to get rid of all those wires completely. And his ambition was, well, it was staggering. He called it the World Wireless System. And this wasn't about sending Morse code or something. This was about beaming raw electrical power. He honestly believed he could use the Earth itself, like the whole planet, as a giant conductor, making it vibrate with energy that anyone, anywhere, could just tap into. Just imagine that for a second. But, you know, the timeline here really tells a tragic story. So he invents his famous Tesla coil, right? By 1901, construction is underway on his massive Wardenclyffe Tower. Things are looking good. But then, that very same year, his rival Marconi sends a radio signal across the Atlantic. And it worked. Marconi's tech was simpler, but it worked. And just like that, investors got cold feet. A few years later, the funding dried up, and Tesla's huge dream was, well, it was just left to crumble. And you have to listen to how unbelievably ahead of his time he was. He's literally describing something like a smartphone 100 years before it was invented. I mean, with promises like that, it's no wonder he got investors so excited about his vision for a totally connected world. But it never actually worked. That tower, this giant monument to a wireless future, it was a total failure. It was eventually torn down for scrap. The dream just collapsed. So what happened? What went wrong? Okay, so here it is, the fatal flaw. Tesla, for all his genius, made a huge scientific miscalculation. He completely dismissed radio waves. You know, the exact same tech Marconi was using. He thought they'd just get hopelessly lost out in space. So instead, he bet the whole farm on his own unproven and ultimately wrong theory about using the Earth as a conductor. His entire grand vision was built on a foundation that was just cracked. So Tesla's massive dream died, but the core idea of wireless power, that didn't go away. It just took a few decades, and then it was reborn. But this time, it wasn't driven by one man's grand vision. It was driven by careful, pragmatic engineering. So today's wireless power really breaks down into two main categories. You've got near field, that's for short distances. It doesn't just radiate energy everywhere. Think of your phone charger. Then you have far field. Now that's about beaming power over long distances using waves. It's actually a lot closer to what most people think Tesla was trying to do. Let's take the one you probably use every day, your phone charger. The way it works is actually beautifully simple. Okay, so step one. There's a transmitter coil inside the charging pad, and it creates a magnetic field. Step two, you put your phone down, and the receiver coil inside your phone enters that field. And finally, step three, that magnetic field creates an electrical current in the phone's coil, and boom, your battery starts charging. See? No planetary resonance required. Now, if you build on that basic idea, you get something more advanced called magnetic resonant coupling. This lets you send more power over slightly longer distances. And this is a game changer because we're not just talking about phones anymore. This is the key tech that could let us wirelessly charge something as big as an electric car just by parking it in the right spot. Okay, so this is where we get to the heart of it. Let's put them side by side. Tesla's epic dream versus the engineering reality we have today. And when you look at it like this, the difference is just stark. Tesla's whole system, its core principle was this idea of Earth conduction. And it was meant to be global. But the key challenge was, well, the physics was just wrong. Now look at modern tech. The core principle is magnetic resonance. The range is short to mid-range. And the challenge is they're real engineering problems, like efficiency and cost, not flawed science. It's gone from abandoned and unworkable to actually, commercially viable. And one of the biggest of those challenges is efficiency. Let's be honest, a good old-fashioned cable is still the king. You get about 95% efficiency. Wireless EV charging? It's pretty good, hovering somewhere between 70 and 90%. But that gap, that missing 10 to 30%, that's wasted energy, usually lost as heat. For your phone, who cares? But when you're charging a massive EV battery, that waste really starts to add up. But, and this is a big but, don't underestimate today's engineers. Get this, researchers at Oak Ridge National Lab have successfully tested a wireless EV charger that delivers a whopping 270 kilowatts. To put that into perspective for you, that is just as fast as many of the best wired superchargers out there right now. So yeah, this tech has some serious high-power potential. So, where does that leave Tesla in all of this? What's his real legacy? It's not the blueprint for Wardenclyffe Tower. It's the sheer audacity of dreaming up a wireless world in the first place. He's the inspiration, not the architect. He lit the spark, he laid that conceptual groundwork, even if the engineers today are using a totally different set of plans. And that brings us to our final section, the future. So where does all this go from here? What's the next frontier, and what's still standing in our way? Well, the next big frontier is far-field power. And this is where things start to sound a lot like Tesla's original ambition. I want you to picture this. Huge solar power satellites up in orbit, soaking up the sun 24/7, and then beaming that energy down to Earth. A constant stream of clean power. It sounds like something straight out of sci-fi, but I promise you, people are working on this right now. But okay, reality check time. A recent DARPA project managed to beam power over 8.6 kilometers. That's amazing. The catch? The efficiency was only about 20%. So it's a huge proof of concept. We know it can be done, but getting from there to something actually practical, that is still a massive, massive challenge. And listen, efficiency is far from the only hurdle. We've got a whole list of major challenges to solve. We're talking about electromagnetic safety, making sure it's safe for people. Cybersecurity is a huge one. Then there's stuff like foreign object detection to make sure nothing gets fried. And even if we solve all that, it's got to be economically viable, and we need everyone to agree on a standard. So yeah, there's a lot to figure out. So here we are, right back where we started. It's been more than a century since Tesla's tower came down, but his dream of a world without wires, it's closer than it has ever been. It's just not being built from his grand, flawed vision. Instead, it's being built piece by piece by thousands of brilliant, practical engineering solutions. The question really isn't if we can do it anymore. The real question is how we're going to build that future safely and make it work for everyone.